Hello.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Come on in, Mary. Make yourself comfortable. So, how are you?
I'm okay.
So, since we met last week, how have you been feeling?
It's been okay. Well, I guess I would say it's a rough week, but I got a paper back and I got a C on it, which wasn't what I expected at all, and I worked really hard and I haven't really left my room all that much. I've just been studying a lot, and
Yeah, so that's hard too, right? When you feel like you have all that work that you have to get done.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot on my plate.
Would it be correct in assuming that you feel like you're kind of overwhelmed?
I would definitely say I'm overwhelmed. There's papers and exams, and there's just too much for me to handle at once. I don't have enough energy to finish everything.
Just like we've been doing before, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think that you would rate your week emotionally?
Probably a 3. I haven't done much socializing. It's just been really focused on work, but I just never seem to get anything done.
Okay. Do you mind if I take a couple notes through the session? Okay, perfect. In terms of last week, what we talked about, we discussed automatic thoughts and kind of just introduced the topic. And I had given you some of that literature to read. Did you get to read some of that?
I did read some of it, yeah. It helped me get my mind around what automatic thoughts really are, and that it's kind of innate in the way I always think about any situation, I guess.
Yeah, you're correct in saying that. It's those immediate reactions. When something happens and that first thought that pops into your mind, those images, that's what we kind of categorize as automatic thoughts. Was there anything last week about the session that you liked or you didn't like?
No, it was pretty straightforward. I understand what we were talking about.
Okay, so the format will just keep going that way and everything's good for you that way?
Definitely.
Perfect. So, in the same format, we're going to go ahead and set an agenda.
Okay.
We're going to sort of review the homework from last week. We'll talk about some of the main concepts that we want to introduce and what we want to work on, and just kind of focus on progressing towards those goals that we established at the beginning.
Right.
And you're okay with that? That's good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at, I find personally that diagramming things out helps me to really conceptualize it. So if, say you have negative emotions, those emotions affect your thoughts and your cognitions, right? And then how you feel and think about something typically affects your behavior. And this is the cognitive model that we've been talking about.
Right.
There's lots of books available. Education is a key part of this therapy, and we want you to be familiar and comfortable with these concepts, right? There's no voodoo here. This is nothing hidden. So in the same way that emotions and thoughts affect behavior, we can see that your behavior and your thoughts can affect your emotions. And it sort of creates this triad. So where it's not as easy to change your emotions, we look at what's easier to change. So your behavior and your thoughts are going to be what we're going to be focusing on. More specifically, when we talk about automatic thoughts, that's related to negative thoughts and cognitions.
Right.
So in identifying these automatic thoughts that you have and being aware of these thoughts, we might be able to find patterns, which we believe that these patterns will sort of give us information on your core beliefs. And a lot of times, too, automatic thoughts are so embedded in us that we don't realize that they're happening, right?
Yeah, that you're actually doing that.
Yeah, it's a reaction. It's automatic, just like its name, right? So when we use these to find all the patterns and everything, it reveals your core beliefs. And a lot of times these beliefs, or schemas as we also call them, stem from experiences in your childhood. So there could be different things that have happened to you that when you were younger sort of started to establish these types of reactions and how you interpret things. So why we even bring up automatic thoughts is that in this way that we address them, we can get you to look at them, and being conscious of them, maybe we can start to attempt to change those. So, and just like one of the goals that we spoke about at the beginning is to kind of alleviate those feelings of depression and anxiety. In changing these things, maybe your emotions will change and you'll feel more positive emotions. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so just like I was saying, like where we want to kind of focus in on negative cognitions and thoughts. So to do that, you have to be aware of them. And just like you read in the literature, just knowing what it is the first step. So the second step is going to be identifying it. So that's going to be your homework for next week's session. I'm going to give you this sheet, and it's the automatic thought record or dysfunctional thought record.
Okay.
Anytime that you have a negative shift in emotion, I want you to record that. So, I don't expect you to take this piece of paper around with you and a pen in your pocket, but you can use your phone or, write a little memo to yourself, jot a note. And the important things that we want to know about it is the date and the time. Then we're going to look at the situation. So what led to this shift and this unpleasant emotion? What made you feel that way? What was the trigger? And was there any distressing physical sensations that you had? Did you feel anything physiologically?
Like anxiety or?
Yeah, was your blood pressure up? Did you
Okay.
feel like jittery, or were you blushing or anything like that? The next thing is automatic thoughts. So now that you're familiar with them, we want you to identify what was that thought or that image that first came to your mind when this happened. And then, as we've been doing, because we want to quantify your emotions and your feelings, on that scale of 0 to 10, I want you to give a rating to that. And then there's actually 3 more columns here, but we're just going to focus on these first 3. So the last one is emotion. Just what emotions did you feel? Were you happy, sad, depressed, anxious, overwhelmed, anything like that? And again, we're going to use that 0 to 10 scale to but to help understand how strong that emotion was at the time. So, like I said, you can write it in your phone, keep a little voice memo, and then come back to here and just kind of write it down.
Sounds good.
And just like I was saying, because we're looking for patterns, right? And we want to find those things that you're most frequently doing that are leading to any negative emotions or negative behaviors that you're having. Do you understand that? Do you have any questions about it?
No questions. I understand. I think that's good.
Okay. And if you ever do, you can send me an email, give me a call here. Look at that sheet. Yeah. So, sort of to summarize what we've done today, I just want you to remember that the purpose of this homework is so that you can generalize things that are happening in session. The best way to alleviate any psychological distress is to not just work on it here when you're with me, right? We're only meeting once a week. You need to generalize these things. And it's very normative what you have. Like, just to be depressed and anxious is very common, especially at this time of year when you're a student and there is a lot coming through. I mean, to think that that's not natural would be kind of absurd. So, I just want you to take away sort of the things we talked about and just remember that in recognizing those maladaptive cognitions, that hopefully we'll be able to pinpoint those and change them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Mary, you'd said at the beginning of our session that you had a hard time getting out of bed this week. What were you thinking while you were in bed?
I guess I was just thinking about all the schoolwork and everything that had to get done. I was just very overwhelmed, and I just didn't think I could do it.
You didn't feel like you could do it?
No.
Would that be like an automatic thought?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so if you could have an alternative thought for this situation, well, what do you think that would be? Like something maybe more adaptive?
Well, I guess I could have thought that if I had gotten out of bed, I'm fully capable of getting all this stuff done.
If you think about it, if you had maybe thought while you were in bed that you were capable of doing it, do you think that would have changed your behavior or your emotions this week?
It sounds like probably a more positive spin could have made me more productive and more active in getting out and actually getting something done.
Yeah, so, and just like before we were talking, like that goes back to changing those automatic thoughts and those negative cognition, and we can affect behavior and emotion.